Today's journey is from our multi-state Northeast road trip that took us through New England before making our way back home. This cemetery is one that legend has it is heavily monitored and secured. I even had some of my good friends through YouTube say, Whitney Houston's gravesite is off limits, nobody is allowed to visit. Even other YouTubers who have channels that have made it here said that they had to visit discreetly. I can't speak to anyone else's experience, I can only tell you my own, and my experience is this. I had no issues whatsoever. I was able to come right in and pay my respects to one of the greatest voices of all time. We have made our way to Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey. We are here today to remember the life of and pay our respects to one of the greatest vocalists of all time, Whitney Houston. Her grave marker has been inscribed with her nickname, The Voice. And if you've ever heard Ms. Houston sing, well, it's no secret as to why. Whitney Houston was born August 9th, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey. She began singing in church when she was just a child, and it did not take long for her to catch the attention of record labels. With the help of Clive Davis, she was signed to Arista Records at the age of 19. And once again, it didn't take long for the hits to come. Her first two studio albums both made it to number one and are still some of the top selling albums of all time. Her third album had two more number one hits as well. At the 1986 Grammy Awards, she was nominated for 3 awards, and not only did she win the Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, but her live performance at the Grammy Award broadcast would earn her an Emmy Award for Outstanding Individual Performance in a Variety or Music Program. Those first 2 albums scored accolades all over the world and were so celebrated that it would be difficult to even document every award that she received for those. Throughout her career, she would release a total of 7 studio albums, just to name a few of the accolades that she received. 6 Grammy Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, 2 Grammy Hall of Fame honors, 16 Billboard Music Awards, 22 American Music Awards, and holds records pertaining to her awards for the most wins. As if Whitney Houston wasn't well known and popular enough, she was slated to perform the national anthem at one of the most watched events of the year, the Super Bowl. Her performance is still talked about to this day. She would appear in The Bodyguard opposite Kevin Costner, and although at the time the film received mixed reviews, at the box office it was wildly successful, and at the time it was one of the top 100 grossing films of all time. And the soundtrack, which featured Houston, would once again receive accolades, especially for her performance of I Will Always Love You, which was a song written by Dolly Parton. Houston's version was so powerful that people still regard it as her signature song. The single was certified diamond, sold more than 20 million copies, and became the best-selling single of all time by a female. Houston met singer Bobby Brown in 1989. They dated for 3 years and were married in 1992. Whitney would give birth to Bobby Christina Brown in 1993. Whitney was always known for a good girl type of image, staying away from controversy and always being dependable and reliable. Around the turn of the millennium, things sort of began turning a little bit. She started showing up late to rehearsals, interviews, photo shoots. Concerts were canceled, and reports of odd and erratic behavior began making their rounds. This led to reports of drug use, often stemming around her husband, Bobby Brown. Clive Davis was slated to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She missed it, even though she was scheduled to perform. More and more friends and colleagues began reporting and telling of behavior issues, mostly surrounding her alleged drug use. Houston would later admit to using certain drugs. She would still release albums and would have some success with those. Houston had a highly anticipated interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2009 where she spoke candidly of her struggles. She also entered drug rehab facilities on different occasions. It is said that in the days leading up to her death, her behavior was erratic. On February 11, 2012, Houston was found unconscious and submerged in a bathtub at the Beverly Hills Hilton. When paramedics arrived, she was unresponsive. CPR was performed, but was not successful. She was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. The cause of death was not immediately known, but was announced later by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office as the effects of heart disease and cocaine use. Her memorial service was held in Newark, lasted 4 hours, with performances by Stevie Wonder, CeCe Winans, Alicia Keys, also some remarks by Kevin Costner, Clive Davis, and her cousin, Dionne Warwick. Sadly, her daughter, Bobby Christina, is laid to rest right beside of her. It was an honor to visit the grave of Whitney Houston. Just a few things that I want to go over. I had no idea that her grave was supposedly off limits until after I had already visited. It was more of a, how did you do that type of thing. I just drove right to it. Well, I had to search a bit, but I found it, obviously. Also, as far as Whitney goes, I know that a lot of people remember her later years, but wow, we should remember more so her talent and her voice. She is definitely a generational type of talent. Talent like hers doesn't come around too often. Links for my website and Patreon will be in the description, and another video of mine will be on the screen soon. It is my hopes that you will watch it. Once again, from Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey, I will see you again soon.